it's quite windy today. It's been windy for the last sort of week, but I've been getting out there anyway. You can see the little tree there on the sort of centre to the right, having a little bit of a blow around. And I got it in altitude hold mode, and I'm just watching my mate's kid there. My mate's there, he's on his bike somewhere, I can't quite see him. But his youngster's on his scooter. So I had a little play around, and I get it going in a second. And what I've noticed is before, when I've had these issues where I'm flying around, whenever I go out, I always take about, I've got 5-6 batteries, and I always take at least 4 of the batteries. I say at least 4, I should say at least 3 really, because I generally take out 3, but today I took out 4. And between batteries, I'd give it a good few minutes just to let things cool down a bit, even though things don't get particularly too warm. Unless it's a warm day, then I take that into account. And so I'm flying around altitude hold mode and just giving it a little bit of a blap when I get it going a bit. And unfortunately, because it's windy, I don't want to go up too high, so a lot of this is going to be low down. And I'm not going to bore you to death with 15 minutes of what this is. I'll just do a few minutes of it while I'm chatting away, and then we'll skip forward to what happens. But it's been a hard one for me to try and work out before, when I'm flying around and all of a sudden I've got no control. And I think to myself, well, what's going on? Is it the quad or is it the controller? And I've never really been able to fathom out which one it is. So today has been good, because when I lost control of it today, I got to find out on this instance which one was the problem. So I'm quite chuffed with this, and I'm quite chuffed that I tend to fly low quite a lot of the time, because I've had 1 or 2 issues with this particular drone. I say particular, I've only got 2. I've got my Hubsan H501S, which I absolutely love, and I got this one on, and I love this. It's a great little drone when things aren't going wrong, but when things do go wrong, it can be a little bit confusing, a little bit upsetting, getting it sorted out. But this time round, it was pretty good, because I got to find out what happened. Or at least I got an idea of what happened. And I need to actually pull the file off my phone, because I'm doing this thinking I can show you, but of course I've not even got the file off my phone. So here we go then. Here's an interesting thing. The quad's locked up. I had to land it because it wasn't really doing what I thought, and I can't. Look, it's in altitude hold mode. I flick it onto GPS like I have, it does nothing. Back to altitude hold, nothing. Back to GPS, nothing. I presume the props are off. It's the right way up, I landed it quite way up, but look, I can't turn it off, because this, if you just hold this down now, it turns it off, but it doesn't do anything. So there it is. Maybe that's why it doesn't switch from altitude hold to... Just check it for temperature, just in case anything dodgy's happened. But how weird is that? So what's happened is the handset's locked up. But I had to land it because it was unresponsive. But it was responsive enough for me to bring it down. It's still recording. So I can turn that off, can I? No? Ah, okay, so it's turned off on the recording. But I can't flick it, GPS altitude hold. It won't do anything. I'll try and arm it. Probably a silly idea with that antenna right there, but okay. If I flick to GPS now, nope. So it doesn't want to know about GPS. So when I landed it and I did disarm, because you can just hold this down now to disarm. But it still won't switch between the modes. How bizarre is that? How bizarre. But I suppose if I switch this off, I've stopped the recordings, that should be good. And turn it back on again. Look, GPS hold now. That's where I left the switch. Altitude hold. So it's this. See, this is what I've been trying to find out. I've been trying to work out whether it's this that goes funny sometimes, or is it this? Ha! And it seems like it's not droning. I mean, this is the first time I've been able to really pinpoint this locking up on me. Okay, so well, that was quite... at least now I get a bit of a clearer understanding, because every time this has happened before, and it's been very similar, this is what this particular drone and controller does to me. I don't really get any other issues with it. The only one time I thought I had an issue was when I banked it really hard and it shot up into the air, but I've learned a lot more about piloting this drone since then, and I realised that that was just pilot error. Big gulp of my tea. So yes, really interesting. I'm gonna, of course, I'll ask Hubsan if there's anything that they can suggest regarding this, and just have to wait for that. Now, just in case anybody was wondering, I decided to go onto the Hubsan website, and if you're in the UK, I would suggest maybe at the minute the Zen cart page is broken when I tried to go to Hubsan in China, and so I went to Hubsan US, and I decided to look for the props, thinking you're going to get props from Hubsan, and they're going to be Hubsan props, not a problem. And because they did say they were going to get back to me, but no one's got back to me, and it's been a little while, Hubsan, if anybody watches. But I do realise that they're probably not going to get back to me, because hey, if you want to buy them from our website. That's all good. $4.99, bargainous. Yeah, for real Hubsan props coming from Hubsan, bargainous. Until you get to the shipping, $58. $58. I assume they're sending a jet directly from there to me here, and they're going to land it on the road outside. For $58, I want them. Oh, I hope these blades will be funky. And of course, I've not ordered them, because that just seems a ridiculous thing. If you want directly from Hubsan, but what can you do? What can you do? So I've gone rogue. I've got myself some locking nuts, and I've ordered some props off the internet. And what I'm going to do is because I do realise now, after looking at various different brands of props and people talking about, hey, you can't expect them to be balanced and all this, it's just the ones that you get in the box, I don't know, they just seem to be a lot better. Or somebody told me I was petty for saying anything about it, but you want to go and spend £7 on props that you think you can put onto a camera drone and it's going to give you decent footage. Then you think that it should be okay, and because there's no real way of balancing them, you can't buy a balancer for these particular props. You can buy a balancer for the open end. I just made that up. I don't know if that's what they're called, but the ones with the holes through, so you put locking nuts on. The Dubro, isn't it? That's the one. And the amount of people I've seen selling these Dubros that turn out to be these cheap things, and I've spoken to the people who review them, they've said don't bother with the cheap ones, get a Dubro. So when I can afford one, because they're quite expensive, they're like 50 quid pretty much, but I suppose if you want balanced props, then you've got to buy the proper equipment to do it. And as I'm going to carry on with this particular hobby, I see that there's probably a good investment to get that and try different props. So I've got some different ones on the way. Bugs 3 as well, that drone, that uses the same props. That's a little sort of racing drone, but not quite a racing drone. But it's a bit rapid, so frequent flyer put me onto them. So I bought some off eBay, and I've bought some from Banggood. because I've got some new antennas coming as well. I've got a couple of these, well, what they call these new spangly antennas that outdo the, oh, darn it, I can't remember, but they're two round discs, and then there's a smaller round disc just below it. So I've got the, because I did notice that it was the right, where it radiates to the right or something, the signal. They seem to be the most popular. They're all the ones that are out of stock. So I got the left hand ones, going for the not so popular ones. Of course, a pair, because you got to have one on the receiver and one on the drone. So that's gonna be a little mod I'm gonna do to my drone. But yeah, I'm just like playing around because it's nice to, in the wind, just to have a little play with it still outside. Just showing a little bit of control, a little gap there in the leaves and the trees, so just chuck it through. But there you go, I've waffled on, and so I'm going to bugger off and put some music on the back of this and just say cheers for watching. My bandy legs, you see, that's what, they'll make a good air gate, wouldn't they? No, but I'm quite tall, so I expect my legs to look a bit bandy. Right, yeah, so there we go. Is it, well, this time round I know that the drone wasn't affected at all. It didn't have any problem. We got no burnt out cables as far as I know. I might just whip off the case just to have a look, even though I don't suspect it has, because it didn't look like it actually crashed, and the motors, but that I think was down to the firmware the first time. Some people may disagree with me, but I'd done this before where it flipped over itself, not a problem, just locks out, shuts off. That particular time when it happened, after I updated the firmware, fried it. So different firmware in now with the new cable, and it's all good. So anyway, cheers for watching, guys, and I'll catch you on the new one with hopefully the new antennas on, and I'll tell you what they're like, see if they're any good for me.